Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Keeping It Real with San. And today's topic is a topic that was actually recommended by one of my audience members and one of my viewers, which was defining happiness. And at first, I really struggled with this topic because I really asked myself, like, what more could I talk about with regards to happiness that people don't already know, because like people know what makes them happy. They know how to give themselves happiness. But then I realized that at times as people, we tend to associate happiness with an external factor. We always look at happiness as something that's outside our door, as something that we always have to go towards. It's always something that we have to go get. And, I realized that that's not how it really should be. That's not how we should really be looking at happiness, as it's something that we always have to chase, and yeah, so with regards to that, like I feel like happiness is like, obviously, as people know, it means to have a sense of like contentness or contentment and to have a sense of peace. I like to view happiness as a sense of peace. And I feel like to reach the highest level of happiness, you always gotta first look within. I feel like happiness should always be first and foremost an internal priority, an internal emotion and an internal factor. You should not always be looking at happiness from an external factor of like it comes with things that I have, it comes with the people I associate myself with, it comes with things that are out there, for like example, like those are often seen as temporary happiness. For example, like when you buy a new shoe, obviously you're gonna feel happy because you bought yourself a new shoe, you buy yourself a new handbag, you buy yourself anything that your heart desires and any wants or needs that you crave. You're gonna have a sense of happiness and a sense of fulfillment and contentness, because it's like you did that for yourself. I got something that I wanted, but that's never the highest form of happiness. Happiness should be peace within yourself, because a lot of people say they're happy, but they never truly at peace with themselves. They don't enjoy being alone. They do not enjoy spending time to themselves because they always feel like they've been left alone with an enemy, or they've been left alone with an unfamiliar face, because it's like at times it's often said that if you can never spend a couple minutes by yourself doing absolutely nothing, then you're not really on good terms with yourself and you're never really at peace with yourself. That's why you always feel like you have to have something to distract you, whether that's going out, spending time with your friends, or even just being on your phone or being on your laptop, and that's something that I really wanted to tackle a bit more and break down a bit more, because I feel like too many times we have been brainwashed to believe that happiness is a go-getter factor. Like you have to go get happiness, and it's often associated with once I get this, once I buy this, once I have this, I will be happy, and going back to the example I stated not so long ago, it's kind of like when you buy a new bag or when you buy a new shoe. Let me make an example. When you buy a new shoe, the first couple days you wear that shoe, you're gonna make sure that you watch the way you step, you watch where you step, you don't crease the shoe, you don't do anything that's gonna harm the shoe or break its look, right? But 2-3 weeks later, you don't even care how the shoe looks. Like you're running in it, you're jumping in it, you're climbing trees in it if you wanna climb trees. It's like that's because that happiness and that high value that you're associated with that product when you first had it has left. It has been digested that I have the shoe, I own the shoe, and it's no longer of high value as the day you got it when you walked out of the shop with it, So happiness that is temporary always runs out, and it always leads us to feel like we need to chase happiness. We always need to go out there and get more and more and more happiness. But I feel like it always has to be an internal thing. It always has to start with you. Can you look yourself in the mirror and be content with who is staring back? Can you be content with your environment? Can you be content with the people you have around you? Can you be content with who you are as a person and, the way you carry yourself, the way you treat people, the way people talk about you? Because It's like if you always approach happiness from an external point of view, then you'll never really truly achieve happiness because it's always something that's going to be kind of leaving your system and you have to continuously go chase. And it's like, I feel like when happiness is always an external factor, you kind of to a degree become an addict to it because you always feel like, I need to go get this to feel this. For example, if you get happiness from drinking, you're always constantly going to have to feel like you need to go drink to be happy or to be at peace. If you get happiness from being around people, then you're always going to want to be around people. And sometimes as people, we do need time to ourselves. You don't always want to be around people, and people don't always want to be around you, and it's never anything personal. It's never like a bad thing when someone feels like, they want to be away from people or they want to be away from you, because it's common even amongst family members or even amongst loved ones that we do at times feel like we need to step back from each other and just breathe, and when you are a person that places your happiness on external factors, you always need those external factors to survive or feel a certain emotion, and that's detrimental towards yourself whenever your happiness is from an external factor, because without that external factor, then you feel like you cease to exist in positivity, you cease to exist in happiness and joy, because that value that you have towards something and that balance to the equilibrium has been taken away. You've been deprived of it, you've been stripped of it. And I want people to know that happiness is not always a consistent journey. You're not always going to be happy, and I feel like you can truly appreciate happiness and value happiness more when you know that it's not something that's always going to be there. You're not always going to be happy. Sometimes you're going to wake up and feel like shit. Sometimes you're going to wake up and not be your best self. Sometimes you're going to have certain encounters in your day that's going to take away from that positive, happy feeling that you had beforehand. And I feel like when you understand that happiness is not always something that's going to be there, then you can, to a certain degree, be more happy in the negative, because like it's something that's going to happen. It's inevitable, but I know it's not going to last. It's not the end of the world, and it doesn't determine my day or who I am or anything like that, because a lot of people lose their happiness over the most pettiest things out there. Like, for example, you greet someone and someone doesn't greet you back, and now you just feel like angry and annoyed because someone didn't greet you and you made it a priority to greet them, but they ignored you. Or for example, you have a bad experience or encounter with certain things throughout your day or with certain people, then you feel like that happiness inside of you has been stripped away. That happiness is now gone because so-and-so did this, so-and-so said that. And that's the problem with always placing our happiness in external factors and in external environments, is that if your external environment is not good or not positive, then you can never have that sense of contentment or peace within yourself. And it's like, I feel like it's very important to be able to look around you and feel peace, look within yourself and feel contentment, because that goes a long way. Also, when your external is negative, you as an individual are still positive, because you know that you do not associate with that external environment. That external environment does not dictate where you stand as an individual. It really increases your level of confidence and peace within yourself, and it also allows you to be able to differentiate between what is and what is not, because when happiness is always associated with external factors, when external factors don't work to your advantage or work to your favor, then you feel as if the happiness is there. Happiness is not there. It ceases to exist, and everything just becomes like wishy-washy. Basically, you just feel negative at times, and you feel like nothing you say or do ever works out to the best because the environment is always against you. But I feel like sometimes the environment, it can be against you because you can be against yourself. It's often said that the energy you put out is the energy you receive back, which goes back to why I was saying, like, happiness has to start from within you. If you as a person are happy and content with yourself, and you're always in that light of higher energy and higher vibration, then the universe will throw that energy right back at you. and sometimes it might not throw back the same positive, happy, joyful feeling. But even when, it rains, you will still be content because you have an umbrella. Like when you encounter rain without an umbrella, it's a different feeling to when you encounter it with an umbrella. And I feel like when you make happiness your internal priority and your internal factor, you kind of have that umbrella that even when your external factor does not work to your favor or does not work to your positive outcome, you still feel content because you had that umbrella to protect you and shield you from that rain that's trying to ruin your swagger of the day or ruin how you feel that day. Because when you become wet and your look is messed up, you become more irritable, more annoyed, and more negative, So I feel like as people, we always need to be sure to make sure that our happiness starts within ourselves and that we hold ourselves responsible to our joy, our peace, our serenity, our peace of mind, and never put it in external factors, whether it's people or products or services, because all of those things change. People change, feeling changes, priorities change, as X once said, and that is so true. Like the person that gives you happiness today can be the same person that gives you hell tomorrow. The products that gave you happiness today can be the same products that give you hell tomorrow. For example, a car. When you buy a car, you feel the utmost happiness, you feel the utmost joy. But if that car tomorrow is constantly breaking down, constantly requiring services, constantly requiring to take out money from your pocket for it, then that's giving you hell because you feel like you're always losing, rather than gaining anything, and you lose the happiness and joy that you once associated with that vehicle because it's now become like a liability to your personal life. And I feel like never allow anything to become a liability in your personal life. And if it should become a liability, at least let it be out of your control, and always have at the back of your mind that happiness is never consistent. And it's not always going to be a reflection of me. Sometimes you can do good but receive bad. That doesn't mean you as a person went out of your way to attract that badness. It's just the way life works and the way there has to be balance to equilibriums and balance to things that you do as a person and things that you receive as a person. So I don't want to make this video too long because I feel like if I make it too long, I might go on back and forth and lose context of what I'm trying to say and the message that I'm trying to say. But to sum it all up, I just wanted to say that never allow happiness to be robbed from you by external factors, whether it's people, products, services. Don't ever allow yourself to be made feel like you should not have happiness, you should not have contentness, you should not have peace if you do not have 1, 2, 3, 4 things in your life. If you cannot associate 1, 2, 3, 4 things with your peace and happiness, because at the end of the day, it all determines on whether when you're looking in the mirror by yourself, can you be happy with what you see? Can you be happy with the person that's staring back? Because at the end of the day, only you know what your intention is. Only you know who you are. Only you know everything about yourself. Some people can assume, some people can speculate, but at the end of the day, your prime priority should always be yourself, because that's the person you go to bed with every single day. That's the person you live life with every single day. That's the person that was there at the beginning of your life, and that's the person that's going to be at the end of your life. So stop allowing external factors to rob you of your happiness, and don't allow anyone else to tell you when to feel happy and not when to feel happy. Now, that doesn't mean be selfish and block everything out and feel like only you need to live in this bubble and only you get to detect how certain things are. It's not what I'm saying. I'm basically saying is be mindful of the external, but always be mindful of the internal, and always leave that separation between the two. Never connect the bridge as one thing. What happens internally is always going to be what happens externally, and what happens externally is not always going to be what happens internally. So with that being said, always be sure to take care of yourself, show yourself some self-love, give yourself everything that you need to be the best version that you can be, and don't limit yourself, and don't allow anybody else to limit yourself, because you only go as far as you believe you can, and you only go as far as you're willing to go. So with that being said, stop letting people take your happiness away from you. Peace.